What services does your MSP actually need to offer? And then additionally, what services can we bolt on to make even more money in the long term with your MSP? How are you guys? My name is Harrison Marin from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs succeed through education, but also marketing and sales training. In this video, we are going to be covering every service that you need to offer and additional services that you get to add on to your existing system. And it doesn't matter if you are just starting out or you already have a fairly successful business. You might have a couple employees and you're like, well, how do I make more money on my existing clients? Well, that's providing more value, and that is what we are going to be covering in this video. Before I get into this video, I do want to mention a couple quick things. Number one, there's a masterclass down below. I know you guys know it's getting reworked. It is still fantastic, and the feedback I keep getting from you guys is fantastic. So if you haven't already, go check out that masterclass. Number two, I might cover a couple links in this video. Those are also in the video description, and there's a bunch of other really helpful resources down in the video description. You'll scroll down there, you'll see every single one of them labeled out and exactly what they all are. And number three, I am putting together a boot camp. Now, it's something that is coming in the near future, but I do want to tease it a little bit. It'll probably be available for you guys in the next video or so, where you can go on, register, and it'll take you from zero to MSP business owner in about 6 weeks. It's going to be starting in January. More details on that to come. So let's get into your MSP services. We already know that the best part of an MSP is that MRR, that managed reoccurring revenue. Words are getting confusing today. Your monthly reoccurring revenue. And that is clients paying you every single month. And we've already covered what they expect. They really just expect to be able to pick up this device, make a phone call, you or your team answers it, and they get help immediately, which is the core of what we do. But there's a lot that goes into what those services actually look like and what they're actually paying for. Now, I've made a map. Some of you guys have already seen this before. If you haven't already, we're going to be going through an entire map. And if you want to get this map, there's a link down below for the MSP map. You can print this thing out. You can go to your local Minuteman Press. I will probably be making some kind of sale or creating this and stylizing it, but it's still in the early stages. But this is a really good way to just see what you could actually be offering. Now, I'm going to cover MSP services, but I want to cover the additional services as well. Now, most MSPs are going to include network management, which is going to be cable runs, switch management. You're going to be selling cable runs. You're not going to be including that in your price, but wireless networking, setting up VPNs, setting up wireless LANs, whatever it may be that you feel necessary for your client is going to be here. And if you think at any point throughout this video I may have missed something, or hey, I really need to add something, please leave a comment down below. I try to make these as good as possible. This took me several hours to fully build, and I'm human. I'm not perfect. And you guys are absolute beasts closing your biggest deals after watching these videos, starting your business, getting your monthly reoccurring up, all of this kind of stuff. I love hearing about it. So if you see something that I might have missed, please let me know. So we also have cybersecurity services, penetration testing, dark web scans, cybersecurity assessments, HIPAA risk assessments, regular risk assessments, threat reports, and then anything that might go into that alphabet club, not just HIPAA, but FINRA. The list really goes on and on and on. We also have web services. Now, most MSPs, I really don't recommend getting involved in web services, but some of you guys are really tech savvy. You guys understand this. Why not make some money on easy web services? Hey, if you know how to use WordPress or you're a WordPress assassin, why not just offer to host their website? You might not want to do some of the website updates or the website design, and that's okay. But you can manage it. Your team can make sure that it's updated. It's just another service. Phone services is another kind of steal. The reason I love phone services, and I actually encourage most MSPs to get into phones, and I'm not talking about these phones, your trusty data cellular people, yes, but it's really not worth the amount of time, energy, and effort that it takes. But there's traditional phones, you know, those things with the wires that little kids probably don't even know what they are at this point. Those phones are money makers. And the reason they're money makers is because you're going to be selling the phone. You're going to mark up that phone. You're going to be selling your time to install it. You're going to be selling potentially even cable runs to install the phones. You might even need to do PoE, power over Ethernet, for those phones. There's a whole list of things that you can kind of get involved with those phones. But here is the golden thing. Usually there's a multi-year contract, and you can resell RingCentral. You can resell so many different VoIP providers. RingCentral is just one that I know of off the top of my head. But you're getting a multi-year commitment, and that is the chef's kiss, the absolute best thing that you could possibly have, because every 3 years, they're going to need to renew the contract. And guess whose name is going to be on that contract? Yours. And you're going to be making a percentage of that deal every single basically month. Sometimes they pay out in a lump sum if the client pays up front, but you might be getting that monthly reoccurring for years and years and years. And it's a one-time setup. There's almost no headaches that go into phones. Sometimes there are. I'd be lying to say that it's completely stress-free. But as far as like work that needs to be done, it's one and done and paid for forever. So phones are a gold mine. And maybe you have a customer for 5 or 10 years. Up their phones, change their phones out. Hey, we have new headsets that you could sell. You might have new phones that they might want to use. You might say, hey, we need to reconfigure or set up a new system or adjust the system because the company went through a reorganization structure, and you have to get back on the phones and set up your local, I believe it's PBX, but basically that phone routing system inside, right? Yes, private business exchange, a branch exchange, where those numbers can go and get split around your company or their company per se. So we have business communications, VoIP, SIP trunking, fax over IP, which is huge. You have your phone system setups, you have those PBXs, those IVRs, and that's just a whole gold mine. And if you're really nervous about selling or starting your MSP and providing these managed services, start with phones. Phones is a fantastic way to get your foot in the door, and then you can sell everything afterwards. Or if you want to make more money with your clients, add on phone services after they've already been a managed client. Why not? They're going to call you anyway for phone problems. Why not make the money on the phones? Next, we have that CIO and consulting, Chief Information Officer, or VCIO, Virtual Chief Information Officer, technology as a service, technology consulting, research and development. You might have to go research a system that actually works for your client. They might want that. That's billable. Budgeting and financial planning. Hey, you're going to spend this much money in 3 years. This is how much you're going to spend in 5 years, assuming this level of growth. And training and education is a gold mine. People always need training. There's constantly new employees being hired. There's constantly employees being fired. There is data security training, password training. There's consistently areas that people can get better in. And you, as the technology expert, can actually be the one that provides that training, either built in your package, and you might have somebody that goes around, or maybe it's you go around maybe once or twice a year. Hey, we're going to be doing, on these new whiteboards that I'm going to be hanging up, and my videos are going to be changing soon. But this training, this training, and this training, and this training. It's 4 times a year. Could be completely remote. You might even have multiple clients on one Zoom call for a training. Get creative with it. Your clients love that kind of thing. They love to see you succeed, believe it or not, because the more you succeed, the better services they're going to get, the better technology they're going to get, the more of a better hand-holding they're going to get through the entire process. And then for some MSPs, security services, access control, the little fobs that you scan to get into a building, video surveillance. It is not expensive to hire somebody to sit there and watch cameras for a company if the company wants you to do so. Security monitoring services, training and education again, but not this kind of training where you're doing technology training. You're doing, hey, this is how we deal with threats. This is how we deal with potentially an attack on a school or a library or a building or an office building or a bank, whatever you want to get involved in. More training and education, intrusion detections, systems, security consulting and risk assessment. If you really go down the rabbit holes, gold mine, and then advanced analytics and AI. Maybe you're helping a retail store say, hey, what product should go in the front of the store? Your cameras might have some analytics on there. This part of the store gets 50% more traffic than the rest of the store. You might want to put a more profitable item in the front of the store than in the back of the store. And these are all add-ons for the most part. Some of these you're going to have to include, but for the most part, these are all going to be add-ons that are going to make your life easy. Now let's get into the managed services. And there's plenty of services out there that you can sell. And these are just a drop in the hat with how much you can, how creative, realistically, you can get with your business. So I've also thrown in some compliancy, what software you would need for certain areas, but this is what they're going to be paying you for. This is 99% of what your customer is going to be paying you for. And once again, if you want this, go grab the link down below. And if you've made it this far in the video, I would very much appreciate a like, a subscribe button, and maybe a notification bell if you want to get crazy with it. MSP Services, your monthly services, powered by your PSA, your professional services automation tool, and your remote monitoring and management tool. So you may want to include server support in that. Some people, I love, one bill, making your life easy with billing. Little hint of a video coming up. Configuration of that server, and then patching. You're consistently going to be updating and making sure that server is running as top-notch as it possibly can. Google services, O365, Google, whatever it is. Even backup is kind of considered a cloud service, and there's other cloud services as well. You could probably get some vendor management as a cloud service. You have Office 365, which is its own product, Google Workspace, and then industry-specific cloud programs. Now, if you don't know what an industry-specific cloud program is, I'm going to rattle off a few of them. And some of them might not specifically be in the cloud. Some of them are also migrating to the cloud. But you have Outlook. Outlook Online, believe it or not, is a cloud product. You have Practice Panther for lawyers. There is BIM for building companies. You have AutoCAD for architectural companies. Like, the list goes on and on and on. Some of those might be fully in the cloud. Some of those might be local to the desktop. And some of them might be a hybrid between the cloud and the local desktop. These are all services that you can sell and you will need to support, which is why niching, figuring out your buyer persona, also a link down below, is vitally important. Because if you are like, I'm going to be the architect guy, I'm only going to focus on architects through my entire state, region, whatever you decide to pick, why not focus on only that industry? And you might only need to know 3 or 4 different softwares that everyone is using, making your life a million times easier. Help desk support. This is what people expect. This is them going to be answering the phone, calling you, figuring it out. You might need to do some on-site support. If it's too far away, you might need to hire another company to go out and do the work for you. If it's local, you might be getting in the car, turning the keys, or pushing the button, depending on what kind of car you have, and going on site to fix those problems. Remote support, 24/7. Most businesses do not work 24/7. You can say that you offer 24/7, and you should still answer the phone, but 99.9% of businesses are gonna stop calling you right around that 7, 8 o'clock mark. Sometimes they might call you overnight if it's a real emergency, and you can say, hey, if this is an emergency, press this number, and then it forwards to your cell phone. But most businesses start work between 6 and 7 in the morning and end work between 7 and 8 at night. As long as you have support for most of those hours, and support is just answering the phone and saying, hey, what's the issue? Okay, sounds great. We're going to give it to our level 1 techs, 2 techs, maybe our 3 techs, our network engineers, whatever it may be, but getting the help that they need, or at least letting them know, hey, we've received your request. We are now going out and actively trying to work on it. That's really it. You don't have to get as crazy as most people think. You're not sitting there waiting the entire time saying, oh my goodness, when is my next customer going to call? Oh, here they are. Okay. That's not how it works. You have to answer the phone. You have to make sure that, hey, they know that the support is coming, and you have to follow your SLA, your service level agreement. What did you commit to, or at least get as close to it as possible? Basic break fix. Believe it or not, things break all the time in computers for whatever it is. Hard drives burn out. The computers don't get cleaned enough, so they get super dusty. They overheat, whatever it may be. Computer speed ups usually included, hey, my computer's running slow. I included break fix in here because I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten a phone call from somebody and they're like, hey, my computer isn't turning on. And then we FaceTime and the power cord isn't plugged into the computer or into the wall. It's like, yeah, it's not going to work without electricity. It needs to have electricity. I don't know if it's just the cleaning people in somebody's office messing with some people in the office, or other employees messing with somebody in the office. I don't understand how it happens so often, but I would say a fair percentage of your help desk calls are, my computer isn't turning on. 99% of the time, it is the power cord is simply not plugged in. The other 1% of the time, maybe the power unit in the computer died. That's probably the 1%. The other 99% is my computer's not turning on. It's probably not plugged in. And you look like a hero when you fix that. And then email support, usually in that cloud backup or cloud services area, but they're still going to call you. They're still going to make the phone call. Hey, my email is not working. Backup and data recovery, you want that to save your own butt. You want it to save your own butt so you can save the customer's butt. You want to make sure that there's a solid backup and disaster recovery plan in place. The backups are happening and you're checking in on those backups on a regular basis. Data backup and transfer. You might have to migrate that from NAS to NAS. The list kind of goes on and on. Cybersecurity services. You don't have to get crazy with it. Endpoint detection is huge. Making sure patching and updates are done correctly is 99% of this. Threat detection, you're going to get notified. If you set your system up correctly, you're going to get notified when there's a threat. Security updates, same thing. That's going to be those updates of the computer, updates of your software, and updates and patches through just the entire system. And then virus and spyware removal. You want to get rid of, obviously, the bad stuff as soon as possible. Vendor management, vendor liaison. If you don't know what that is, it's the customer saying, hey, my office isn't working, my printer's not working, can you make the phone call? The problem is even if you don't manage that printer person is going to call you anyway. Just be the phone call, be ready to support it, and help that printer company out. Printers can be an absolute nightmare. I don't think there was ever a day that somebody didn't complain about a printer in any MSP that has a handful of customers. Printers are notorious for not working. The map drives, it just is a pain in the butt. Letting that customer call whoever they bought the printer from is fine. But at the end of the day, that printer person is going to call you to help fix it. Just know that it's going to happen. Include it in there. Tell the customer they get to call you directly and make your life easier. Stop creating more headaches than you actually need for yourself. And last but not least, we have those one-off services. That new PC setup, that computer tune-up, software install and setup, operating system install. You might have to wipe a computer completely and reload it up. Server setup, email setup, video surveillance and access control, setting up those physical cameras. But all of these go into your services. Some of them you might want to include, some of them you're not going to want to include, especially those one-time services. That might just be one-time billable, and that's okay. You might create a package that's $300 or $400 that includes everything. It's your MSP. That's the best part about it. So I hope this MSP map helps. There's a link down below to go get this MSP map. It is designed to be printed out, stuck on the wall, make your life easy. That's all I want to do. I'm trying to help you guys to the best of my ability. If you've made it this far in the video, one, I hope I get a like button. I hope I get a subscribe button, little notification bell. If I missed anything, or if you want me to change something, you think I missed something, you think that there's certain areas that should be migrated, please leave a comment down below. I'm consistently just trying to make the best tools for you guys possible. Stay tuned on the giveaway. Giveaway's coming up. We're a handful of days away from the giveaway. Recipients, the masterclass is worth its weight in gold. The links are down below, and boot camp is coming soon. Stay tuned because I'm only going to open it up for a short few weeks. So if you want to get in on it, make sure you stay up to date. There could be a link down at the bottom of this video by the time it goes live, but it might be a couple days by the time it goes live. Other than that, love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later.